Hello YouTube peers, this is Green Ray. Welcome to a new series. This one will be called RPG Reviews. This is episode 1. So I want to start reviewing RPGs, and why not start out with a bang by doing one of the newest ones, I guess. Not sure if it'll actually turn out to be a bang, but I'm sure I hope so. Okay, so we have I didn't really take an abnormal amount of screenshots, but I certainly have taken a lot. I've definitely taken a lot of these loading screen screenshots because I think it's kind of interesting. That gives you the etymology, the names and stuff. Anyways, so you do like combinations of demons to make other demons. It's not a very sophisticated fusion system in my opinion. I don't really like it that much. It seems to reward lots of grinding and time investment. So, and like a lot of the exploration is very rudimentary. To be fair, even though it is rudimentary, it is pretty fun. Anyway, so you go to the land of sand, if you want to call it that, and then you go back to regular land, and then you go back to land of sand again. So there's a little bit of back and forth. There's a lot of stuff happening in the story. I think the battling and the exploration themselves are pretty good. The story progression hasn't really been confusing at any point, but the game just overall feels pretty slow to me. So if you don't mind spending a lot of time on a game, it's a pretty enjoyable experience. But if you wanted like a faster game, I would look more into perhaps playing Saga Frontier. But most RPGs are pretty slow, so I think most RPG gamers will enjoy. A lot of these look exactly the same. That's because there's a different name. There's like different stats and stuff. I was just like trying to record like different things to compare later potentially, but I don't know if I actually spent time doing that. So yeah, there's a huge category of things that you can transform into, blah blah blah. Transform your monsters into, and I took various angles of some of the monsters sometimes. I also took a screenshot because like there's these special fusions where you don't know what you get until you have all the things available, which is kind of interesting. And you can kind of like determine like level 25 Haunt and also combined with the silhouettes, like who's that Pokemon? You can go find it based on the hint pretty easily. So that's why I take a screenshot so I could be reminded on what the hint is. In case it wasn't available right away, then I might need to remember it. Anyway, so I really like this monkey. He's pretty powerful. I've been using him a lot lately. I've not been able to capture this one yet. I'm not level 40 yet. I'm actually like 36, I think. My main character. So you can only capture monsters usually that are on the same level as you. Sometimes you can catch them maybe a level or two higher, but you definitely can't just transform anything into them until unless you're at that level. So something to keep in mind. Fusion stuff. This person got kidnapped recently, so I gotta go rescue her. This person was showering me with praise after I defeated this guy, which I discovered, so I knew exactly who she was talking about before I had the chance to meet her. Ironically enough, there was actually some story progression that blocked me from talking to her, but I was able to discover him, which was cool. I think that's fine. I think it's a nice way to introduce side quests, just to allow the player to explore that point, and then come come back to it later. There were some areas in this game so far that kind of annoyed me. Let's see, where was it? Like this particular character. Um, she wanted you to defeat this dude. But the ironic thing is, the only way you can talk to her before you have the chance to defeat him is if you just run away from him. And so I wasn't really running away from him. I'm no coward. So there was absolutely no way to get to her. It seemed like maybe you could get to her, and I was trying all kinds of platforming stuff to go around him, but I didn't want to run past him through a building that was like really hard to navigate and stuff. It honestly probably wouldn't have been super difficult to avoid him, or even if it was, you could probably run away from him during battle and then continue to run regularly and then probably be fine. It's probably what they intended for you to do, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't aware that there were some of these big monsters that you were allowed to run away from. So I do think they could have handheld you a little bit here with the case of this guy, and they could have told you, hey, there's maybe you want to try running away from him. Because I don't think the player is going to think, let's run away from, because usually when you run into these large monsters, I don't think you're actually able to run away, unless I'm just misremembering. Maybe it's just you can't run away because they instantly kill you, so it might be a little bit mixed up in my head, but it's easy to have a mild misunderstanding. But yeah, there's a lot of things in this game that might be a little bit confusing, and I'm definitely curious about the calculations on some of the damage amounts. What I've noticed is sometimes monsters with a lower stat value, like lower magic or lower strength, but if their level is higher, will still deal more damage than monsters at a lower level with much higher stats. So your level, I guess, at least compared to the enemy, is definitely taken into consideration when calculating damage outputs and that kind of thing. So, so unfortunately, not all of the calculations are visible to the players, but they can make observations like that, which is nice. And the numbers don't get too out of hand. You actually start off for a pretty decent period of the game, not even having 100 HP. So the damage numbers being smaller helps a little bit, I guess, with the observations and trying to make guesstimates as to what the calculations actually are and stuff. But anyway, so, oh yeah, and there's some interesting quests. So where there's like these side quests, and sometimes you get to choose a side on the side quests, which is interesting. So I chose to help out this guy, and therefore was able to recruit him. And I think usually when you choose a side, you get to recruit either one that you helped, which is pretty interesting. I also recruited somebody else that I'm not sure if I'll have a screenshot for or not, but anyway. Anyway, as for how long the story is for this game, I'm not really sure yet. There is a bad guy called Lahumu. Lahumu is, I'm not sure if he's the same person that we saw in an earlier cinematic or not, but he might be. But if so, I mean, he's definitely, transformed quite a bit, and presumably he's planning to transform again. We've sort of been, like, he had, like, it's this big raiding party earlier, which we've been, like, trying to help out the survivors of, because they simply got captured instead of killed, because I guess they want to, like, use them to get stronger or something. Anyways, so we've been rescuing people, and supposedly I'm hot on his trail at the moment, and I'm supposed to trigger a story event where I possibly encounter him again and actually get the chance to fight him. before. I didn't really get the chance. I was just observing and stuff. I don't think it really, like, sometimes the game gives you some fake choices. Like, I'm not too sure, but I think when you are presented with the option of having, like, this character that reminds me of Yuffie or Selfie or Riku, but she's like a fairy, kinda, I guess. Like, that particular character, I'm not sure why I didn't take a screenshot of her. Anyway, she guides you to treasure, and lately, like, a pumpkin monster has been guiding me to treasure instead. But anyway, I really should take more screenshots, but anyway, what was I gonna say? That particular character, like, you can argue with your other half, if you want to call it that, of the Nahalbina, about whether or not you should bring her along. But I wonder, I think maybe if you don't like the idea of her coming along, I wonder if that's a fake choice or not. I would be curious to find out if it is or not. There's a lot of times in these RPGs where you're not sure if something's a fake choice or not. It's really interesting. And there's sometimes, like, there's wondering if there's reverse psychology going on, especially when it comes to recruiting monsters and stuff. And sometimes I think some of that recruiting monster stuff is entirely random, and sometimes I think it's just partially random. But anyway, I do think probably your chances of recruiting them are probably also based on levels too. Anyway, well, that's enough of that game. Stay tuned. Next episode, I will review another RPG, one that I moving forward. I want to review games whether I've beaten them or not. I am going to continue to play this game until I beat it, but I haven't been streaming it. I don't think it's really a very streamable experience. It's pretty slow. I think if I speedrun an RPG, it'd be more worthwhile.